Your old pal Jizzo here with another episode of Sunset Strip Confidential. Newsflash, 1990s. It was early in the morning and I got a phone call from a certain Playboy playmate I was dating. We have AIDS! What? We have AIDS! What are you talking about? I was dating this guy before you, she said. Another lead singer. And he's been screwing everyone in town, not wearing a condom, and he has AIDS. He's HIV positive. Jesus Christ! He has AIDS and he doesn't care. He doesn't care. Ugh. Good morning.
And isn't it a lovely morning?
Yeah. How'd you like to get woken up to that on a Sunday morning? This certain singer was carrying on without a condom, and he apparently knew he was HIV positive, and he didn't give a shit. Half of Hollywood went to the free clinic that day. Jesus Christ, we carpooled, we caravanned. It's all fun and games until someone gives you the plague. So I went and got the blood test. Then they make you wait the obligatory 5 days for the results. 5 days. 5 days. Tick-tock, tick-tock. 5 days of thinking about AIDS. Thinking about Freddie Mercury. All the what-ifs. I'm chewing my fingernails to the quick. I'm freaking out. The playmate is freaking out. We're all freaking out. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? F*** that guy. Finally, the day came. I showed up at the free clinic, which wasn't free, by the way. A guy comes out with my test results. He looked at me with this smug expression because he had the power over me. He knew it. He had the power of life and death. So, Mr. Jizzo. Yes. He cleared his throat. Sit down, please. So I sat down. He had this clipboard with a piece of paper attached with what I assumed was my test result. There was a little Post-it flap covering one of the lines. You know, my result must be under the flap. Why the flap was there was a mystery. I guess perhaps it was for dramatic effect. Just lift the flap, dude. Just lift the fucking flap and give me the news. So, Mr. Jizzo. Yeah, that's me. Lift the flap, dude. Lift the flap. You're here for the results of your HIV test, yes? No, I'm here for a fucking pap smear. Of course I'm here for the test result. Now lift the fucking flap! You still reside at the Van Nuys address, correct? Who cares? Lift it! Lift it! Lift it! He put his hand on the flap. He touched it. Okay, let's see. You are, Negative. Woo! Close call, Jizzo. It's funny because after that, life went on in Hollywood. As usual, people continued to drink hard and screw around with no remorse. The playmate and I ended our relationship pretty much after that. You know, there's nothing like a death scare to bring two people together. I used to love that band, Berlin, back in the day. Loved the songs. Terry Nunn was totally hot. I loved that band. Until I read an interview with the band back in the early 80s, and it totally freaked me out. It turned me away. I should explain. Times have changed. See, when I was a kid, especially in the early 80s, sexuality wasn't as fluid as it is now. There were rules, especially in rock. Call it chauvinistic, call it macho nonsense. I don't know, call it what you want. That's how it was. We were young, red-blooded rock kids, and we had a code. And woe be unto anyone that broke it. Case in point, I'm reading this Berlin interview. It was the guitar player, I think. But I'm reading this guy's interview. Nothing crazy, nothing controversial. And then, all of a sudden, this guy veers away from talking about music and starts talking about beating off. Onanism. He likes to beat off. He loves it. Him and the keyboard player, they both beat off together. I'm reading this going, what? What? You mean in the same room? Look, nothing against masturbation. It's sex with someone I love. Everybody did it. Everybody does it. Of course, it's just we don't fucking talk about it, especially in a goddamn magazine interview. What was this guy thinking? Was he trying to be controversial, or was he just being a weirdo? I don't know. It got worse. The interview continued. These two guys, they like to beat off at photo shoots. Apparently, when the band gets together to do photo shoots at professional studios, these two guys run off to the bathroom between takes and beat off, giggling in the bathroom like weirdos. I mean, I'm reading this, I'm shaking my head. Am I supposed to think this is cool? He goes on and on about it. He beats off at video shoots. He beats off at photo shoots. Beats off at parties. Whack, whackity, whack, whackity, whack. Fuck this. He ended the interview by saying, yes, he and the keyboard player were nasty, but Terry Nunn, the singer, she was the nastiest one of all. That did it. I threw that stupid magazine in the trash. Now you've done it. I hate you guys. I used to love you guys, but now I hate you. Now you're fucking creepy. Your band is totally creepy and not good creepy, you know, like me. Like when I saw that Billy Squire video for the first time. You know the video of which I speak. I loved Billy Squire's music. The guy wrote great songs. He does write great songs. He's killer. And now this? What am I supposed to make of this? The hair stood up on my arms when I saw the video. I mean it. It was a visceral reaction. I mean, was that fair? Was that just? No, of course not. But as a kid, I'm just telling you how I felt. His career never recovered after that video, so I guess I was not the only one who felt that way. Was it fair? Was it just? Nah, it just was. When I first saw Michael Jackson do the moonwalk at the Motown 25 Awards, I was totally blown away. It was like Star Wars. I'm looking at this going, how the hell is he doing this? It was magical. He was magical. His songs, his dancing. He was the biggest star on the planet. I thought he was a lord. I loved him. Then things changed. Here comes Bubbles. Remember Bubbles the chimp? I'm watching some music award show, and Michael Jackson comes in carrying a chimp, a chimpanzee, Brooke Shields, and a chimp. They're just sitting there in their seats at this award show, the three of them, talking amongst themselves. I mean, who carries a chimp around? Who carries a chimp? I'm trying to analyze this. There must be some logical reason he's carrying a fucking chimp. I mean, the guy is a musical genius. Is the chimp his muse? So I decided to let it slide. I let it go. Then he started carrying Emmanuel Lewis to award shows. Okay, is this not weird? Michael Jackson has ditched the chimpanzee and is now carrying a miniature human with him, like a backpack. Why is he doing this? And why isn't anyone else noticing this? Am I the only one that thinks this is fucking weird? Then came the transformation of his face. It changed. The plastic surgery, he doesn't have a nose anymore. Where's his nose? What happened to his nose? After all this creepiness, and then after all the future you-know-what creepiness, when I found out he died, it still rocked me. I was on tour with LA Guns when we heard he died, and even after all this creepy shit, we still felt his loss. It didn't matter, I guess. After all of it, it didn't matter because he was and is iconic. He was a part of my landscape. He was bigger than life. You know what it shows? If you have any level of professional career, there are 1,000 bear traps set out to trap you. When you have easy access to drugs and booze and girls, and everyone tells you you're a genius and you can't do wrong, you have 100 yes men around you, it's hard not to just indulge yourself into oblivion, dive right into the abyss. You try to steer clear of AIDS and drunk driving accidents and chimps, especially chimps. You don't want any primates. You try, but sometimes you just can't change fate. You see, the fates were 3 old crones in Greek mythology who measured your fate on a string, and when your time was up, they cut the string. Boom! Over. It's in the hands of the fates. That's what they used to say. We all have different fates. Some bands go multi-platinum, and most don't. Some bands have one-hit song, and then it's over. Some bands have long careers, like Elton John. Elton John has been in my life forever, but for every Elton John, there's 100 Right Said Freds, and Chumbawambas, and Ahas, and even they are a rarity. At least they had one big song, and they got to feel that rush. Crash Test Dummies, Edie Brickell and the New Bohemians, The Verve, The Knack, Musical Youth. Remember Musical Youth? Pass the Dutchie on the left-hand side, whatever the that means. I mean, where are those guys? Anyway, you do your gig and you keep your nose clean, and hopefully the rock gods will smile and keep gifting you the magic coins so you can pay your rent. And at the end of the day, that's the best you can hope for. It's your old pal Jizzo, rockin' and rollin', and we'll see you next time.